Moving into our first game this weekend and kicking off the season, I think we feel confident, hopeful, optimistic. We put in a lot of work from the fall through the winter to where we are now. So this last week of training and this last bit of this stretch ahead of us, we're just eager to get started. I think our expectations in competing in just in a conference schedule are twofold. One, I think it's always on the horizon for us to be expecting to be on the top end of the teams and to be competing for a conference championship. That's something that we internally always aim for and strive for and believe and have a conviction that we want to be moving towards that direction of a conference championship. So it's always encouraging to be viewed by your peers and fellow teams in the conference to be picked as number one, but of course being picked as number one and to end as number one is an incredibly long journey. And so we understand there's a lot of work to achieve that. So on one end, I think we're aiming at that and we're expecting to achieve goals in that realm to move towards that. But secondly, it's just such an unknown with all the variables in navigating COVID and training and logistics. That's a whole other thing that we'll have to do that we haven't been expected to do in other seasons. So making sure that people are safe, healthy, navigating when those who are sick or in quarantine, being flexible, I think, will come into play here more so than maybe ever we've had to. One of the challenges we have faced is to continue to keep that momentum. Of course, we've had to have weeks where we have had to kind of deload or ramp it up, and now as we are entering these last days before our first game, I think hopefully we can reap the rewards and the fruits of all our training and trying to keep things in perspective and navigating the long periods from our 2019 season to moving into 2021. But I think our guys have been great at managing that. I think they've bought into the process. I think they believe in the process, and I think they're anxious more than anyone else, more so than the coaches and the families, to get back onto the pitch and to compete. The DNA in which we play definitely shows itself through faith-based and conviction lens of being a Christian-focused team. So some of the things that we continually bring in front of the players and we try to aim at is managing the moment in front of us. So how do we do that in a way that promotes good stewardship? Whether it's our time, studies, one another, how we train, and it's not to allow other circumstances beyond our control to influence us. So we do the best we can to manage the stress, to manage the load, to manage the problems and the circumstances, and ultimately we know that we have what we have and we want to make much of what we have. So whether that's little, we have this week, we have this session, we have this moment, how do we multiply that shines and breathes out our faith and our conviction of being Christ followers?